Well, good afternoon or good evening if you're in the USA and over in Europe, and if you're overseas, because I have some Asian wonderful connections. It's already Super Saturday morning. I am Bruce. My method is simpler, faster, better. My what I do is process cleanup. A lot of people know me as the guy in the blue shirt. So happy to have Heidi on. She's over on the West Valley here in the Phoenix area. So welcome, Heidi. And we're going to get into a little bit about how we met in a minute. So just say hello.
Thank you for having me, Bruce. I appreciate you having me on today.
Yeah, so, and again, I was telling Heidi the reason I like to put this into context is that I'm a very passionate believer in not only building communities locally, but also helping people who may not have been involved with an online or an offline community before, and also helping people to realize that, I'm a process guy, so I have a process for everything. And my process for actually getting to invite live stream guests is what I call the 4 C's. So I'm going to cover that briefly. So just like we did, Heidi, conversations lead to kind of a connection. It can be offline or in person or online, no problem. And what you're going to find is when you do those conversations and make those connections on purpose, not just with anyone, it's not a shopping mall, you're not randomly connecting with people. But after a while, those connections start to form like a core community. And in our case, we actually met through a very purposeful strategic community called LinkedIn Local East Valley, which is an in-person event. But through that community, and you have a great example you can talk about with Brandon, collaborations occur. So Heidi's here collaborating as a live stream guest for me, and she's an ideal example of how the 4 C's work. And before I hand it over to Heidi, a little bit to chat about our topic and her company and what she's up to. If you are listening or watching, Heidi and I can't tell unless you say hi. So all you got to do is say hi. If you want to say where you're tuning in from, even better. If you want to ask questions or make commentary, then have at it as well. So the comments are for you; they're not for Heidi or I. So have at it. So Heidi, what do you think about the way that we met initially, and then we'll get into your topic. So
Well, I think it's excellent. No matter what your profession, no matter what you do, you need to have a sense of community. So with everything that you do, it's about connections because even a professional relationships are built and it's a balance. It's a life balance. So when you have people that you can bounce ideas off of and collaborate with, it's necessary for how you survive in the business world today.
yeah, yeah, it's kind of more than it's not the volume game, right? It's not actually the number of connections or the number of what I call click connections that you might have. A lot of people get mistaken. I find that they think that click connections and followers is the be all and end all of building a community. It's actually more the reverse. It's actually a lot less, but a lot higher quality. And again, I only invite people to be a guest like yourself, Heidi. They have to be, similar in thinking around building community, but more importantly, they have to have the right energy. I don't want anyone on here as a guest that's not got the right energy, because that's not fair to the people watching either. Why would I invite poor energy into my community?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we were chatting offline. What captured the title of this is I was looking at some of the amazing work you've been doing, particularly with your new role in your new division over there, but more importantly, how you use two really, I think, undervalued transferable skills, one being empathy and the other one, striving for excellence. So, my tie back to that, my simpler, faster, better method is time tested, proven, it works in any environment, but it really does drag people's processes from ordinary to out of the ordinary and eventually, unstoppable, very high level of excellence. So that's kind of my link in. And I was enamored with the way that you were posting about that title, which I, shamelessly stole from your from your content.
Well, I have to give credit to Kevin Jensen, who owns the firm Genesis Legal Group, and the whole team here. So that is their motto on their website. The Genesis Legal Group is where I'm at right now. I'm very proud to be a part of the team here. I had my own law firm for many, many years, and my law firm motto was bringing compassion to families in crisis. So it melded very well with their where empathy meets excellence.
Right.
And so the whole team here exudes that, and really imparting that upon our clients, because ultimately, I like to say, as an attorney, I know, being on both sides of things, that, litigation is trauma. And so we want to reduce the trauma to our clients. And so to be empathetic to them in a way that is going to reduce that trauma and to help them, family law is about families. So if you put that in perspective and keep that focused and give them an excellent product as an employee, I'm not a magician, I'm an employee. So give them an excellent product and make sure that they have a way to, live on their own afterwards in an empathetic way. You process that and then give them an excellent product. And I'd rather get a great review than to, just make sure that I retain someone. So I'd rather have a good consultation and help them. So
yeah, and so is it product or process or a little of each?
It's a little bit of each. So, I, as a service provider, and an employee, I like to make sure that my process is, to get to know the clients. They come in and they would fill out an intake sheet. They meet with, we have an intake team that is amazing here. They match attorneys with the clients, and then we able to sit down and I go through and I tell them some of their options. Their option is, they can talk to an attorney and then do nothing. They can talk to an attorney and then they should have enough information to say, okay, I can go this. I want to do this myself. They should learn something from a consultation. They should be able to, the third alternative is to say, okay, I feel comfortable retaining this attorney. I have a good relationship with this attorney. Or they can, retain, if they've got a family member who's an attorney, they can have somebody else do it too. They have those choices, but they should feel comfortable with their choices that they make. By the end of their consultation, they should feel informed, and they should feel empowered by the time they leave you. So, and when you're approaching a way where you're actually talking to a person and putting things in layman's terms and showing them the law and showing them how it pertains to their situation and making them feel comfortable, that's my goal, is to be reaching that in an empathetic way. Because I've been a litigator for a long time. I graduated from South Texas College of Law in 2000, but I've also been on the parent side of things, and it's not fun. So
no.
So
yeah, it's my grandmother used to. I was brought up in an all-female household. My grandmother didn't say much, but when she did, it was notable, and she would. She'd always remind me, there are certain emotional triggers that are globally uniform, right? And family is one. Talking about money, religion, and sex are usually the other three. So they can usually create a pretty interesting reaction, particularly if you either handle the information not so well, or you say something that triggers not such a good memory. So those are topics that inevitably we'll have to deal with. But if you can turn that trauma, or in my case, part of my objectives this year is, from going from friction to flow. So, trauma is probably pretty high friction, feeling calmer and confident and having informed decisions. And I love your word about empowering people to make their own informed decisions. That's when you get into flow. It doesn't feel like you're pushing a rope uphill, which is pretty difficult, right?
Exactly. So I even I do consults, and I even give them a way to make them feel empowered, because that's kind of the theme of my consultations. Because with that at the end of the consultation, they actually get homework from me. So So, and I always tell them whether they go it on their own or they go with another attorney or they actually meet with me. If they're, my clients, I will ask my clients to, did you do your homework before you called me? So, I always tell my clients to do 3 things.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you want to hear about those 3 things, but I'm always happy.
Yeah. No, I love 3. Hey, simpler, faster, better, process cleanup.
Yeah, exactly. So the first thing I always tell my clients is to keep, just to get organized. And again, I mentioned that I was on the parent side of things too with a divorce as well. So this helped me as well. So I'm preaching to the choir. So,
right.
But the first thing I always tell people to do is just get a calendar and jot down important dates. Mm-hmm. When's your pickup time? When's your drop off time? If something significant happened on that date, document. That keeps it, recorded on there so you can keep a clear mind. Because if you're, as an attorney, we prepare, we negotiate, we mediate, then we litigate. So we're going to need to have a clear record of what's going on in your case, but also it helps you keep a clear mind as well. So I always tell people just go and get a small calendar, and I have welcome packets for my clients with a little calendar in there too, but just jot down those dates and make sure that everything's clear in those dates. So keeping a calendar is important. That's the first bit of homework.
Right.
The second bit of homework is I tell them to keep a journal on more detailed events. So instead of calling up me, right away and just complaining, because I'm on the clock and I want to make sure that the details recorded. I have them keep a journal of what the detailed events are, so they can. It's like a recorded recollection right then and there, and also kind of it's cathartic as well, because you want to empower the person. You don't want them relying on, calling in the attorney and just complaining. You want them recording what's going on and taking detailed events. If there's something that happened that's very significant and there's a lot of detail, you want to make sure they're not just, putting it on social media or something like that too. You want to make sure they're recording that privately, and don't record your child crying. Just record it in the, write it down in a little journal. And the third bit of homework that I always give my clients is, and this is the psychologist in me, because I have a Bachelor of Science in Psychology, but I always tell people, do self-care, because if I don't have a client, I don't have a case. So make sure you take care of yourself. And just like when they tell you on the airplane, when that oxygen mask drops down the airplane, put it on yourself first. If I have a steady client that is a credible witness on the stand, that makes sure that they are testifying to those facts that they've written down on their calendar, those facts that they've written down in their journal, and they're a credible witness because they're ready to testify if it ever goes to trial. That makes for a better case and a better result for my clients, and also reduces attorney's fees. So that's why I asked them, have you done your homework? Because if they calendar, they journal, they self-care, usually they solve their own problems, and that makes them independent. And that makes them, more able to manage things, because ultimately we want to make sure that my clients are independent, because after attorneys are out of their lives, because sooner or later there'll be no attorneys, there'll be no judges, they'll have to function on their own. So that's why I give the homework that I do. So hope that it helps.
It's kind of funny, because even though I didn't know you had that process approach, it's a very solid process approach. Good for you. And actually, some of my past personal woes, if I'd had you, I probably would have done a lot less emotion, a lot more factual. But we get triggered with emotion. We're human after all, right? So
absolutely. But
it's really interesting. Part of my simpler, faster, better, which is kind of like your process, is not only do your homework, but I like to walk the process and experience the process. And what you're getting people to do is kind of record their process remotely for you, so that you can help figure out, where the triggering points or, where the advantage is that you can use as a negotiating point, right? Because at the end of the day, your job is to get the best, fairest deal for your client. And then inside of simpler, faster, better, there's another little tool I use. It's called plan, do, check, and adjust. So your 3 steps are like the plan, do, and check thing. Like you're planning for an outcome, so you need to check what data you have. You need to do things to self-empower yourself, take care of yourself as well. So it's interesting. Completely different world you're in, but the similarities are there all the time.
Yep. I think that comes from my background with having that Bachelor of Science in Psychology and a minor in social work, and also have been in all aspects. I've been I've been a state's attorney as assistant attorney general. Had my own
Mhm.
law firm. I've worked for other law firms, glad to be here at Genesis
Right.
Legal Group. But, looking at as a parent in a divorce case, looking at all different sides of things. So
Right.
having that compassion to look at processes
Mhm.
kind of made me put that into perspective. And I
Yeah.
think it's important because when people are looking for guidance, they're going to look for somebody that can break down processes. And ultimately, my law school, I graduated in 2000, and you're probably doing the math. Yeah, I've been around for a while. But I
Okay.
graduated in 2000 from South Texas College of Law, and we were taught to litigate. So we were litigators. And so ultimately, when it comes down to litigation, you got to have a clear head, present your case very clearly to the judge, and
Yeah.
make sure that you stay on track and make sure your client stays on track. And, so you get the best outcome for your client.
Right.
So those 3 homework assignments make sure that they stay on track throughout their case, because that's what they're ultimately retaining me to do. So,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what you look for guidance for. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I've been doing what I do for a while, and similar thing. I have to have a clear mind around. Most people only use my support when they've not been able to fix the problem themselves. Because
Mhm.
if the problem was that easy to fix, most people do it. So I tend to only get involved, particularly on if I'm doing it for the client or doing it with the client. They're always complex issues. The simple stuff most people will do, and then they don't need the extra resource like me. I mean, I love doing simple things, but ultimately I get involved in a lot of complexity, and yeah, so the interesting what you said about part of the self-care, one little thing I do talking about building community locally is every Saturday I always do a shout out Saturday. And I think people think I'm trying to be boastful or braggadocious, but it's again my self-care. What I use my Saturday shout outs for is that I defrag, from the prior Sunday all the way up to Saturday morning. What are all the things that I've either accomplished or not accomplished, and who are all the people that I've actually worked with? So not only does it really helps my brain defrag.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
very selfish, and I admittedly selfish, but along the way it's also good to shine light on people, like yourself. You'll be in that shout out tomorrow, and talking about other people in our community, I got to meet with Tisha Marie Pelletier and Claudia Wyatt. I'd not met Claudia in person before. I think I've met Tisha several times before. She was at our LinkedIn local, and she runs her own social connect. But what was interesting is that the 3 of us had never met in person. So it was just amazing. Like it was like we'd always met before. Even though we hadn't, we'd been chit chatting for 2 to 3 years, all online or through prior live stream guests, of which both Tisha and Claudia have been, and a lot of IMing and supporting each other's posts. But it was amazing how real both of them were. It was like exactly, and it was amazing. So do your homework, right?
Absolutely. Do your homework, especially
Do
that
your
self-care component. That's the
Yeah,
most important thing.
all the
Yeah.
soft skill stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I did get a message. It looks like we're probably if you are commenting, I don't think we're gonna be able to see it on LinkedIn. If you're not commenting, please do if you're watching, because we can't tell. And if you are commenting, we're not ignoring you. I've just got, one of those system messages from StreamYard. Heidi can't see that, but I get to see that being the host. So yeah, please don't be shy. I tell people don't be shy. If you do catch this as a replay, Heidi already told me that you can ask her anything, and you can ask me anything, and we'll respond as best we can. So what are you excited about? The move to Glendale and joining Genesis is a pretty new move. What do you see? What are the top couple of things that excite you about that? And why is Genesis different?
Well, Genesis is a different group because this allows me to focus on my clients. I know from, when I was a state's attorney, you're litigation heavy. Being an assistant attorney general, you're always litigating. I litigated DCS cases, so child abuse and neglect cases. So
my God.
Kind of heavy material, but a lot of litigation. You're in court 3-4 days a week, doing litigation. And then when I started my own law firm, there's a lot of business related items to that too as well.
Right.
I was with another firm. This firm, the peace and the relaxation and the ability to focus on your clients and the support here. Shout out to my paralegal Selena. So she is my chaos coordinator. She coordinates, what's going on with all the pleadings and everything that we have to do. It allows me to focus on my clients and give them a good quality product from my services. Right. So, being in court and being able to litigate as well. So we're just happy to be here. So she came with me from my other firm as well. Cool. Yeah, so we're excited to be here at Genesis Legal Group. The theme where empathy meets excellence has been it's a team here. The whole team is everything from the management here to the support staff to everybody here has been welcoming. They are able to we have attorney meetups where we can exchange ideas. Everybody's always ready to support each other. So there's a lot more support than it being a solo practitioner, having just somebody else work for you as well. Right. So it allows me to do more litigation and do more client-based focused litigation as well. So yeah, absolutely. It's been a real treat being here. So yeah.
So I had an idea. Can I give you an idea?
Okay. What's your idea?
Selfish idea for our group. Why not bring Selena to LinkedIn Local on May 14th?
Oh, absolutely. I'll invite her. Yes.
Yeah, that would be great. It's back at the Better Business Bureau, so it's a little better business setting, and they've hosted 2 events for us last year, and it's the Missouri Avenue location because the Better Business Bureau have a couple of Phoenix ones, so it's very convenient. It's right off the 51 for most people to get to, and so yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Much closer for you from Glendale, so yes. Hopefully you guys can come over, and we're doing a couple of different things. Brandon is actually going to be doing a little workshop on not only branding but communication. So you're a real live example of that collaboration that's occurred. And I know you can't discuss client attorney privileges, but just tell people, the power of that. Like, you came to your second LinkedIn Local with us, and just tell us about that process. You met Brandon randomly, and now look, right? Yeah.
I like to tell people that, especially if you have this is just speaking generally though too, if you have a situation where you're like, maybe I should just speak to somebody. It doesn't hurt to ask somebody just for help, for assistance, because maybe it's not what you think it is. Maybe it's, maybe it is a different type of attorney, and I'm going to be able to, as a professional, pick through the case and see if, maybe there's 2 different types of attorneys, maybe 3 different types of attorneys, and then getting you to somebody and guiding you through that process. Maybe it's something that is a response or a letter or something you can follow yourself. Well, where do you go find that? So having a consultation and sitting down with an attorney for an hour can really guide you through what the steps are and how to proceed. So I always recommend, if you have that question mark in your head, just, again, maybe do some homework first, do that calendaring, journaling, and self-care, and then bring your notes in, and then sit down with a consultation and really kind of pick through things with a professional mind, because we see things, as what our training teaches us. So we're cross-trained. We may not, I practice 2 areas of law. So I practice what's called juvenile law and family law, but I have to be able to identify, like, if there's a personal injury case, which our firm also does those type of cases as well. If there's an estate case, if there's a criminal law case, our firm also does criminal law as well. I don't do that, but I reserve their attorneys here. But I have to be able to identify if there's going to be crossover and what that contains, and to get my clients the correct results or if they may have liability in a different area, to make
Mhm.
sure that they have deadlines and to be aware of that so they can be informed of that sort of thing. So
Right.
absolutely, it's always best to err on the side of caution and just talk to somebody. Our
Right.
consultations are very, very, it's more of a teaching experience.
Mhm.
When you talk to, well, that's how I run my consultations. Every attorney is different, but it's more of a teaching experience for when I speak with
Yeah.
my clients. So
Well, I actually witnessed the dialogue between you and Brandon in our, one of the things we do really cool is our networking circles, which
mhm.
is not about shoving business cards around or passing those. We get and I clearly remember in in Brandon saying that, what specifically he was looking for, he made mention to a legal matter. And I remember he looked up at you after you done, what your give was going to be, which was basically a chance to sit down with you. And he said, well, maybe I should just sit with you, Heidi. I remember it really clearly. And it was like, oh my goodness, like, serendipity, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Completely in our random, the networking circles were picked by badge color and
Mhm.
completely random. Who would have known? And, fast forward, you guys been, working on some stuff. So
Yeah. So
never know, right?
yeah, you never know, and it's always, and that's one reason I like being here. Instead of being at my own firm, you're able to help so many more people. The intake team is incredible.
Hmm.
The intake team is able to assess what type of case it is, and then get the person to the right attorney to speak with the right attorney, and the attorney does more of an in-depth dive to
Right.
what the person's needs are here, and with several offices across the valley too, you have the opportunity to meet with quite a few attorneys. So I'm in the
Yeah.
Glendale office, but there's also other offices as well.
Yeah.
So
So talk briefly about your footprint. How many are in Glendale and each of the other offices? Why don't you? So time for a little self plug. This is your self plug time, Heidi, and for
okay.
Genesis.
So with Genesis Legal Group, we have offices across the valley. So if you go to genesislegalgroup.com, you'll notice we have offices in East Valley as well as the West Valley.
Right.
There are, let's see, there's 6 of us out here in Glendale. There's also the Gilbert office, as well as the oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. But if you just go to www.genesislegalgroup.com, you'll see the other offices as well. So
Sure.
we all get together on a Zoom call and we exchange ideas, and and as far as being offices here in Maricopa County, we
Right.
do statewide as well. So we do our consultations via Zoom, via
Oh, cool.
telephonic, as well as in person. So I've got a case that I just was very happy that I was able to get a positive result for my client that was out of Flagstaff.
Oh,
So,
wow. Cool.
yes, and so we were able to get that positive result and get that moved back down here to Maricopa County. I've got Yuma County cases. I've got down towards Tombstone, Bisbee area. So yeah,
Right.
so I'm active, but it's it's a little bit more of a traveling issue, but that's if you want quality representation, sometimes you have to go with Genesis Legal Group. So
Right.
that's where you go for quality.
Yeah.
So
And you can drop that all into the comments
okay,
after, I'll send you the recording and yeah, have at it. You can drop that in, and it's just like posting on any LinkedIn post. It just happens to be on the bottom of the live stream. So
okay.
use the comments to your freedom, and yeah, cross share. And so kind of closing thoughts on what you're up to, and then I'll do my little spiel, because I do want to get as many people as I can to our next LinkedIn local meeting. So yeah.
Yeah, let's see. I'm with, let's see, there's a small seminar that we're doing with Ashley Butler, that I'm doing with Ashley
Oh,
Butler.
Ashley, yes.
Yes, we're hosting a small seminar on May 11th, so look for announcements for that.
Okay.
And what else? I'm also seeking consultations to help more people here. So if you want to give us a call over here at Genesis Legal Group, you can look us up online and just give us a call over the office. And if it's not something that you think that we might be able to help you with, call anyway. Call
Right.
anyway and see what we can do, or see for a referral. So that's my plug for for helping
Okay.
out. So I just want to be able
Awesome.
to help the community. So
So I actually, are you a legal shield provider? Because some attorneys are and some aren't.
we don't provide legal shield, but we do. There's a program called CLC.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the
Okay.
CLC with the discounted.
Sure.
And it's a discounted program for the introduction and also for
Right.
the fees. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I have carried legal shield insurance because, just in case. I've only had to use it a couple of times, but they are, I think if you find the right professional service,
Mhm.
that's what it is, professional service. Yeah. So cool. Yes. I met Ashley. Interesting enough, I met Ashley through Tisha's Social Connect. And then I recently saw her again last month at another Social Connect. I didn't realize she teamed up with, and she was at our LinkedIn local East Valley, our kickoff one in 2024, which was small, but I'm really amazed at how many things happened from that, 20 people meeting. And, as part of the leadership, you're always not sure, well, did I really do a good enough job? But it's funny talking with you and Brandon and Ashley, I realize now, and I'm meeting Wendy shortly one-on-one, because I like to follow up with at least two people in person, like I did with you, from every single group meeting that we do in person. You just never know how much the conversation can lead to that connection that then leads you to the collaboration. So,
Absolutely.
and talking of collaboration again, if you are making comments, sorry, can't see them, can't do anything about it. So yeah, I want to plug the power of LinkedIn Local East Valley Phoenix. Our next event is May the 14th. It starts at 4 p.m. through 6:30. It's a full up event. The early bird tickets are still only $25, and included in that is the networking circles. We're doing a Taco Tuesday with a local catering couple, and Michael, we've used before. They always do a little surprise thing when they cater for us, so I don't know what that will be. That'll be cool. Brandon's doing a little quick mini workshop on communication and branding, so he's going to cover that. And actually, we're going to have some people. Britt will be doing Reels videos, and we're going to have some opportunities to take some really good pictures and everything else. Everything else just a little bigger scale at the Better Business Bureau location, which is way more, orientated towards small to medium-sized businesses, not like our first venue. So my selfish plug. And then in terms of what I do, I did pre-warn you. I'm going to run a couple of little outtake videos. So just a little bit about what I do. And then I want to talk specifically about how I'm melding, what I call the right place at the right time with the right tech. I want to talk a little bit about my 3D online community back here. This is just a visual of it, which will be being rolled out. And anyway, so here's a little bit about what I do.
You're frustrated that you have no time and you just hate it. You lost your mind. You're running around the kids and the spouse, and the business that was once your passion has got you burnt out. So, consult with Bruce, the guy in the blue shirt. He'll help you find the truth so that you can do you first. See, it's all about simpler, faster, better, so you can save massive amounts of time and money instead of longing for the day where you can finally kick your feet up. Do yourself a favor. Call up Bruce. He'll tell you about process cleanup.
So another cool connection, Devin James. I met him in Portland, not last fall, the fall before that, when I was up there for an IndyCar race. Didn't even talk about my IndyCar community. So yeah, if you ever want a brand story, anyone, including yourself, Heidi, Devin's it. All right, so fast forward to right place, right time, right tech, my 3D community. If you want to join my 3D community, then just DM me. I'm going to show you a little snippet on that. Little fun, Heidi.
Okay.
See if you can guess what the fun is. We ended up creating 3 spaces which people are going to be able to see, and we ended up with spaces called connect and shop and play and play.
You don't want to miss out, that's all I'm gonna say. The right place, the right time, the right tech. In the omniverse is where I place my bet.
Connect and shop and play and play.
Imagine having Google stocks back in the day when you got up on the ground floor. Pennies to the dollar, this is opportunity calling, so you better yell holla.
That's wonderful.
Who would have thought a 6-decade guy can rap, you know? Just a little side of me that other people don't see, you know? But gotten a little bolder to show it off these days. But anyway. All right. So closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts is just be kind to one another. You know, I just want to make sure that, you know, reach out and, you know, you never know what another person's going through. I think I posted that on LinkedIn recently. So you just be kind. So, you know,
Right.
I want to, you know, my motto for my law firm is bringing compassion to families in crisis. So I'd love to help people. So reach out if you need a little touch of kindness. So that's my closing thoughts.
Reminds me of the lyric of the song, right? Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make the world a better place, right?
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
you can, right?
Absolutely.
That was both Michael Jackson and Diana Ross, right? I think.
Absolutely, yes.
See, pretty good memory for old guy too. All right. Well, it was a joy. So yeah, don't hesitate. Any questions for Heidi or I, pitch them in the comments. If you are particularly in the West Valley and you want to sit down with Heidi, I know she likes to do her consults face to face, and you never know, she might actually help you through a tough time and make it not as tough, right?
And I have no problem doing Zoom or even meeting you over at the East Valley offices as well.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, because
you
you commute.
Yeah, I do commute. Commute. Just let me know what you need, and I'm here to make your life a little easier. So that's just do your homework.
Sure. Yeah, and like you said, thank you to Selena for supporting you and following you. And
couldn't do it better. Couldn't do it better. Yeah.
I look forward to meeting her in person on May 14th.
Absolutely, I'll be there.
Again. Yeah, and don't forget to get your ticket.
Absolutely.
I'll add it in the comments. All right. Thanks, everyone. Again, if you were commenting, apologies, I can't see. All right. Take care. Bye.
Take care. All right. Bye.
Wait there.